Hi, I'm Elida.
And I'm Delara.
And together,
we're the founders of Exhibits,
a free mobile app we built from scratch, showcasing all of London's exhibitions, museums and galleries in one place.
Because it shouldn't be hard to find weekend plans in London. We've taken a break from coding to come and visit London's coolest venues this summer.
So join us as we explore the Isokon Gallery.
Hello, I'm Peng. I am a volunteer coordinator at the Isokon Gallery. Welcome to our mini museum.
Oh wow!
Where's my mama new?
The Exhibit Sisters present License to Lounge. You're tuned in to Big E Radio. In today's news, the dynamic duo are investigating reports of suspected espionage inside tiny apartments near Hampstead Heath. We join them live on the scene.
The owners of the property were this couple here, Jack and Molly Pritchard. Initially, they thought maybe they might want to build a house like everybody else. And then they thought, no, we want to, live in a modern way suited to these modern times in the 1930s. Mm-hmm. So they decided that they wanted to build an apartment block instead. And they engaged a man called Wells Coates. He was a Canadian, but he'd grown up in Japan, actually. His parents were missionaries. And he'd learned Japanese and Japanese crafts, but later on he became a mechanical engineer. So he wasn't a trained architect at all, although he was involved in design circles. And this was the very first block of flats that he ever built in his life. This was a very new and revolutionary block. This is the very first ever reinforced concrete apartment block ever built in Britain.
Wow. And what does reinforced concrete, what does that mean?
So that means you have concrete. You've seen concrete buildings, but inside the concrete they have steel bars. So that provides the reinforcement.
Extra strength.
Yeah.
So
concrete is a bit like stone, and it's very strong in one direction.
Okay.
But it's not strong in another direction, so you use the steel to strengthen it. One of the advertising stunts to get tenants was to say it was the safest building in London because it was built of concrete.
Wow.
And it probably, may not have been strictly true.
Yeah.
Life in the 1930s was different. If you were a middle-class person, you were likely to have had grown up with servants at home.
Okay.
So these were service apartments. So the idea was to have flats which were aimed at modern professional people who wanted to live a very streamlined sort of life and a minimum of possessions. The basic unit was very small. It was a 25 square meter, basically a studio apartment.
Yeah.
There were some larger,
pretty tiny, right?
Yeah. I mean, there were some larger ones at the end, but even the penthouse wasn't very big. The penthouse is only 65 square meters. So it's a one-bedroom apartment that is not excessively large.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does service apartment mean that you have some things done for you?
Yes.
That's what that means. 'Cause I haven't ever lived in a service apartment personally.
I think they're generally for short stay people,
Okay.
They're like apartment hotels.
Fine.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay.
And so they had servants' quarters here, and so you'd have all your housework done for you. Your shoes would be shined for you. Your windows would be clean.
Okay.
There was also a bar and restaurant on the premises. So if you didn't want to cook, you could have your meals downstairs, or you could have them sent up to your floor by a dumb waiter.
Please tell me more about Edith. Who was she?
So yes, this year's temporary exhibition is about a lady called Edith Tudor Hart. So she was born Edith Suchitsky to a middle-class Jewish family in Vienna. And she trained in photography at the Bauhaus. And she was a very talented photographer. She photographed a lot of... she did commercial work, and she photographed working people's lives and children. And she was also a communist, so she got into trouble in Vienna. And eventually, so later on she married an English bloke called Dr. Tudor Hart. That's why she's known as Edith Tudor Hart, and she came to live here. And the marriage didn't last, but she set up a photographic studio at number 158 Haverstock Hill. And so it was that Jack Pritchard hired her to photograph the construction of this building, and that's what these photographs mostly depict. This one here is the garage where we are now.
How many cars or vehicles would you have been able to fit in a garage, do you think? Hazard a guess.
If I had to guess, about 4.
Okay, fine. I was going to say 7, so...
Maybe,
your
depending on
guess-
the
Your guess is probably
I
better
don't
than
know
mine.
actually, because cars have got, but there's no on-site parking anymore these days.
Fine. And where would the restaurant have been?
So the bar and restaurant were just over there behind the shop.
Okay.
Later on, when the building got sold, that bar and restaurant got converted into apartments by the council, who by that time owned the building. So this display board here shows some of the well-known residents who lived in this building. For some reason, this building became very attractive to the espionage community who were working on behalf of Russia. Some people say it's because on the other side of the building is a forest, and there's kind of balconies, so you could have discreet conversations, without being overheard. Perhaps it's the nature of the building set back a bit from the street. And it's probably because it was a very sociable environment. There was the ISO bar, so you could kind of blend in with the locals and meet people and pick up things.
Yeah.
So later on, they discovered that all these guys were spies. You may have heard of a chap called Kim Philby. He was one of the notorious Cambridge Five, some of the most important spies and the most notorious ones that this country has ever known. And he was introduced by Edith Tudor Hart to his controller, Arnold Deutsch, who lived in flat number 1, and there were all these other people as well.
Dilara and I are big fans of Agatha Christie. She lived here.
Yes, she lived here, and she lived here during the war, throughout the Second World War. And, I said the flats were quite small, but she got special permission to knock together 2 flats, so she lived under more comfortable circumstances.
Agatha Christie, in particular, wrote several books whilst she lived here.
Yes, according to our display board, she wrote 3 Blind Mice, the book which became The Mousetrap, and Curtain, which features the death of Poirot.
Great. Fantastic, and that's a wrap.
The journey continues in episode 4, Whimsy in the Gothic Castle.